You'd like that, wouldn't you?
On June 13th, 2025, Grizzly went on Instagram stories and said that the big bad evil guy of Riptide has not actually been introduced yet, which seemed to come as a shock to many viewers who thought Nick had been the big bad evil guy this whole time. So I thought now would be a great time to explain to everyone who I think the big bad evil guy is. The Nameless Prince, a world-traveling entity that consumes each world it comes across. Comparing the prophecy from 110, the Nameless Prince book from 78, the legend lore from 93, and a bunch of random mentions of the abyss and corruption energy, I think that the Nameless Prince traveled to Mana a long time ago, but the entire world teamed up to kick its ass in the war under the tree that Destiny's Blade fought in, and that the tree in 110 mentions. They banished it to the abyss, aka where the hole in the sea leads, and there it lay for God knows how long, waiting to be inevitably freed as the prophecy dictates. An entity threatens world stability, caged in the deepest layers of infinity. The seal remains locked by a key of divinity, its release in time and inevitability. A sea god's last egg, the chosen is born. Underneath an eclipse, in the midst of a storm, foreboded calamity, the chosen is warned. The shape of all life shall take a new form, its choice to be made with no time to mourn. This prophecy was spoken by the tree in episode 110, and is said to be an ancient version of the prophecy we've heard from Gillian and from the Sun and Moon temples. I'm going to go through it line by line, maybe even word by word, and give my take on what all of it means.
An entity threatens world stability.
Sounds bad. Entity is kind of a vague word, but where else have we heard that before? That's right, the Nameless Prince book, episode 78.
You gather that this book is about a prince of sorts, or a self-proclaimed prince, but mostly just an entity born in the abyss. Like, the entire world falls to corruption, and this evil entity destroys this race of, like, living creatures. And goes on to continue to basically consume more worlds by spreading its corruption from the abyss. Like a parasite.
Sounds like an entity capable of threatening world stability to me. The concept of world stability has shown up many times. It's present in all three former versions of the prophecy that we've seen. They will rise or fall to bring unity, and by their choice one shall remain, sea or land. One will remain, land or sea. One will not survive without the other. It is also mentioned by May Farron in reference to the Great Tree.
That this split, this tree is what keeps balance. It needs the ocean to survive, and all life above the ocean need it.
May also senses the Great Tree is dying, and the tree in 110 says, "It calls to me now, a warning, a disaster that comes." Destiny's Blade has made mention of a war under a tree, and it is likely that it is the Great Tree he speaks of, with the war being what the visions Gillian has in 110 refers to as indescribable environment, somewhere you've never been, but surrounded by ocean. You see this flash very, very quickly of a group of people fighting against something immensely malicious. So, an entity, the Nameless Prince, who is established in the book to travel to different worlds, threatens world stability, spreading its corruption, threatening the Great Tree.
Caged in the deepest layers of infinity.
According to the 110 tree, the United People of Mana won the war against this entity and sealed it away in a prison of their own making. A war won by this combined efforts sealed an entity away, and together created not only its prison, but its key and a warning. In the deepest layers of infinity is where it gets interesting. There are many mentions of things in Riptide being deep or infinite. The hole in the sea seems to be at the bottom of the ocean. The Black Rose pirates stared up at a ceiling of endless void. Later, when they pass through a door into the treasure room, a similar void is all they see back on the other side. When Chip spoke with Niklaus about Arlen in episode 56, their exchange went,
I mean, he drowned. He's in the water?
Deeper than that, I'm afraid.
The legend lore says Chip, Dre, and Finn's back map leads to chaos infinity beneath the seas. One other thing is said to be infinite: the abyss. In the Rolled for episode 45, Grizzly offhandedly mentions that the plane the Abyss is where the Black Rose pirates went in the one-shot. The hole in the sea brought them to the Abyss. The Abyss is infinitely layered. If you'll recall, the Nameless Prince was born in the Abyss, and its corruption is from the Abyss. Interesting side notes: the inside of Niklaus's jacket leads to the Abyss, as do the windows in the mold corridor. So, the Nameless Prince was caged in a prison of the United People of Mana's creation, in the deepest layers of infinity, aka the Abyss, the hole in the sea, where Arlen is.
The seal remains locked by a key of divinity.
The seal mentioned is the black and gold egg from the hole in the sea. In the Black Rose Pirates one-shot, when Dre touched the egg, an explosion of shadows came from it. Black ooze and tentacles poured from the egg, blackness rose from the floor. Black ooze which created the Black Sea, which gives the players points of corruption energy the longer they stay around it. When the United People of Mana created the prison, they also created its key. Notice the egg activated when touched by Dre, a Farron. The Farrons are shards of the divine, and in 110, Jay and Gillian are both said to be divine. However, Dre never had that full Farron power, which is why, I believe, him touching the egg had an effect, but not the full desired effect. Nick stated in episode 56 that he wants someone to touch the egg. He also has an active deal with Gillian that he will do whatever Nick asks of him. Nick has also said he needs Gillian. I believe the key of divinity to be Gillian, and when he touches the egg, it will release the Nameless Prince from its prison. So, the seal, a black and gold egg-shaped object that released the same corruption energy the Nameless Prince is said to have, remains locked by a key, possibly the chosen one, of divinity.
Its release in time, an inevitability.
When Dre touched the egg, it released the corruption energy that created the Black Sea. An interesting side note, in episode 110, Niklaus says his greatest desire is for freedom. The legend lore says, the guarding giant, the nameless prince, the unborn kings, all await to be inevitably free. So, the release of the nameless prince, its freedom, is in time and inevitability.
A sea god's last egg, the chosen, is born.
A sea god's last egg implies a person of undersea origin, like in every other version of the prophecy. Gillian came from an egg, but he's the only Triton to have done this.
Underneath an eclipse, in the midst of a storm.
The veil between worlds is thin during an eclipse. This is also the line that makes it through most clearly into other versions. A hero born of moonlight, storm and sea. The chosen born under moonlight, storm and sea. A champion born of sunlight, storm and sea. Also, Pelagus creates storms when close to the surface, and Gillian feels unhinged in a storm.
Foreboded calamity. The chosen is warned.
The United People of Mana created not only the entity's prison, but its key, and a warning. This warning is the original prophecy, meant to be passed down until the inevitable time.
The shape of all life shall take a new form.
The Hollow, or Goopers, Gunkers, Yuckies, or any other whimsical names the players have given them, are what remains of a person after they have been totally corrupted. This could be the new form that is referenced.
Its choice to be made, with no time to mourn.
When talking with Jay in episode 81, Niklaus says,
I feel like he's destined for something, but he'll just need that little push when he has to make the choice.
This implies that he wants to use his favor to make Gillian's choice be something that will benefit him. My thoughts on No Time to Mourn are that if the choice is referring to freeing the Nameless Prince, then this line means that they will immediately need to spring into action to reunite mana and banish it again. So, the chosen is, most likely, Gillian. The prophecy was meant to warn him of the corrupting force of the Nameless Prince, and he will have to make some kind of choice. An entity, the Nameless Prince, who is established in the book to travel to different worlds, threatens world stability, spreading its corruption, threatening the Great Tree. The Nameless Prince was caged in a prison of the United People of Mana's creation, in the deepest layers of infinity, aka the Abyss, the hole in the sea, where Arlen is. The seal, the black and gold egg-shaped object that released the same corruption energy the Nameless Prince is said to have, remains locked by a key, possibly the chosen one, of divinity. The release of the Nameless Prince, its freedom, is in time an inevitability. The chosen is Gillian, most likely, at the very least an undersea person. The prophecy was meant to warn them of the corrupting force of the Nameless Prince, and they will have to make some kind of choice. To be completely honest, I'm actually no longer sure if the chosen one of the prophecy is destined to be the one to release the Nameless Prince, or if they're supposed to be the one to reseal the lock. The prophecy is actually so vague about who or what is doing the releasing. Either way, I think Gillian will be the one to release it, since the seal remains locked by a key of divinity, and Gil is definitely divine. And even though that's something he would never choose to do on his own, he owes Niklaus a favor. And Nick has said before that he needs Gillian for something, and he seems to know a lot about the hole in the sea. I don't believe the Nameless Prince has been passively waiting. I don't know much about Dungeons & Dragons classes or how they worked, but based solely on vibes, and Niklaus's greatest desire being for freedom, I think Nick is a warlock who entered a deal with the Nameless Prince. I think the Nameless Prince gave him incredible power and the ability to make deals in exchange for helping to free it and assuring that mana won't be able to banish it again. After all, in episode 82, Dre recounts Finn's worries about Captain Hendricks, how he's holding back, that his arcane potential was overflowing. Niklaus and the Nameless Prince are connected through three major aspects: the Abyss, corruption energy, and the theme of desires. Oh, the Abyss. I love talking about this thing. Let me get my red string theory board. Not that one. The Abyss is one of the things that serves as a tie between Nick and the Nameless Prince. Nick's jacket leads to the Abyss. The hole in the sea leads to the Abyss, and Nick provided Captain Rose with the map to get there. The tentacles that pulled Captain Rose and Chip overboard spoke Abyssal. The Nameless Prince was born in the Abyss, and its corruption is also described as being from the Abyss. It is also currently imprisoned there. Another tie between them is corruption energy, which is itself tied to the Abyss. The crescent moon that is Nick's signature represents corruption. When Gillian uses divine sense on Nick's compass, it reads as not good, evil, or fiendish, but as a corruption. It has the same energy as Nick's dealmakers, who all started spewing black goop, and also as the Baron. The egg in the hole in the sea was not part of any web of arcana Finn recognized, and the Nameless Prince travels from world to world, spreading its corruption from the Abyss. The tentacles in the Black Rose Pirates one-shot whisper the word desire into Finn's mind in Abyssal. The walls on the memory staircase have "What do you desire" etched into them, and they hear the word whispered to them as they walk. And of course, Nick famously makes deals with people, promising to grant them their heart's desires. Jay knows that Nick needs Gillian for whatever is coming. He also convinced Chip to go to the hole in the sea, told him it was the only way to save Arlen. He's herding them in the right direction. Chip is also, as of 56, compelled to go to the hole in the sea, and compelled to follow Nick's compass. And 10 years ago, Nick gave Captain Rose the map that would open the hole in the sea in the first place. He knows what's down there, and he's trying to wake it up. Nick, along with other creatures of the Abyss tied to corruption energy, like the Baron from the Paramount Tournament arc and Vice Admiral Kuba Kenta according to the book on curses from '98, and also Owlkaz, have ties to the Navy. Nick is Admiral Faye Farron's divine messenger and had access to Dugon around the same time when Jason claimed the Navy had slain the gods of the Undersea, and is also potentially the reason why the Navy hadn't been to Loffinlaw in a strangely long time. The Baron called the Navy to attack Joaldo when he was overthrown, and Kuba Kenta is literally a vice admiral. They also have connections to the pirates. Nick was a pirate lord, the Baron owned the pirate Tournament Island, and Owlkaz has been making deals for 500 years, some with pirates such as Tastrius and Esme. In episode 114, Admiral Faye Farron's recording says that a divine messenger sent by the Solar Mother warned her of the Black Sea before it happened. She's also aware that the Black Sea is going to be spreading soon, and
soon the world will be at the mercy of my justice.
The spread of the Black Sea is going to serve as her signal to begin her war against the Undersea and the pirates. The Shadow Skull Massacre, where Ava Farron and Captain Shadowbeard died, is the Navy's excuse and the pirates' entire reason for going to war against one another. I believe Nick had a hand in this, one way or another. He sent the Dread Queen into the afterlife and is holding her heart hostage. He gave Captain Rose the map that sent him to his death. I think it's entirely likely that he also had something to do with the last living pirate lord's death. With the three major factions of the world all at war with one another, there's no way they'll be able to work together to banish the Nameless Prince. Also, Nick loves drama. He loves causing problems and then watching what happens. The world is his soap opera. He just likes a good story, after all. Well, this has been a journey. To summarize, I believe Gillian is going to touch the egg in the hole in the sea, most likely against his will, and release the Nameless Prince. I think it's then going to try to corrupt the whole world and turn them into hollowed. And then, Alba Trio are going to have to speedrun preventing all-out war and unite the world to stop it. I think they've got a pretty solid chance. They've got friends in the Navy, the Undersea, and with the pirates. Whatever happens though, I guess they're just gonna have to roll with it.